This was an important issue, and Josep Borrell tried to say that there is going to be as much action, that they are taking firm action. They didn't decide any sort of coordinated expulsion of EU diplomats. That was something people thought they might have done. And no new sanctions on Russia. Back in February, they used this new human rights sanction mechanism that they have available to them to sanction 6 Russian officials. Now, I'm going to discuss this a little bit further with Antonio Lopez Istúriz-White, an EPP committee member of the European Parliament who sits on the Foreign Policy Committee. What do you make of this reaction from the EU foreign affairs ministers? Was it strong enough today?
No, I don't think it was strong enough. The only kind of language that regimes like the Putin's regimes or others, understand is strength. And this is the only way as Europeans, Democrats, we have to show them our determination. Sanctions is our tool to make them understand that the way they are driving things is not acceptable by us. Spy stories in the Czech Republic, cyber attacks in Spain, military threats in Ukraine, in Georgia, in our borders. I mean, these are things that we cannot allow. We don't have the military might or the military diplomacy. You saw what happened with Borrell in Moscow. Our power resides precisely that we are the economical power that they all want also to do business with. Okay, but let's impose our agenda on human rights and the defense of our values through this. And the sanctions, again, is the only tool to make this impression on them.
What could the European Union do realistically to get those 150,000 troops, Russian troops, as Josep Borrell says, on the Ukrainian border? What can the EU realistically do to stop that? Are sanctions even enough?
I'm a very practical person. You take away the villas and the money accounts in the European banks from all these oligarchs around Putin, like the ones around Maduro in Venezuela or the Cuban regime. You take all of this from them, this paradise that they have in Europe, and you will see how there will be a reaction by these Putin or Maduros that they are sustained by these oligarchs in these countries. This is what we have to do.
What do you think about the situation of Alexei Navalny? He's on hunger strike, so the Russian authorities, while they say that they will not allow him to die in custody, there is a complication now. What happens if he does perish in this Russian jail? How does the EU react? What does it mean for the Russians?
Europe cannot accept this. Navalny is our, let's say, I will not say representative, is the person, specifically from the party I come from. We had meetings with him, video conferences, always before and after when he came back to Moscow. He's a dear friend. He's a Democrat fighting for democratic solutions in Russia, because as you saw, Jack, I didn't speak before about Russia. I'm speaking about Putin's regime. There are thousands, hundreds of thousands of people demonstrating in Russia these days that we are not paying attention enough for democratic solutions for Russia. What an outstanding thing would be for us to have Russia on the democratic way. That would be impressive for the European, status today. Navalny is our man there. Today, another fighter for freedom, Vladimir Milov, has flown from Russia because, his life is under constant threat, like everybody who, goes against Putin's regime. We cannot allow this to happen. And Navalny has to have a clear, good medical attention by independent doctors, and not military hospital like the Russian authorities are, claiming. No. In the case of Navalny, we need full independent, medical attention. This was, by the way, agreed, this petition by our ministers in the EPP Foreign Affairs meeting that they had this morning. This is the EPP, it's not the Council, but we clearly stated that Navalny has to have the proper treatment. Europe cannot allow anything to happen to Alexei Navalny.
Antonio, thanks so much for joining us on Euronews tonight. The reality is, though, Per, that it's really difficult for the EU to act. That trip that the European Foreign Policy Chief Josep Borrell made to Moscow was considered a bit of a humiliation. He saw European diplomats expelled while he was in a meeting with the Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. Elsewhere, at today's EU Foreign Ministers meeting, they did decide to put sanctions on 10 Myanmar officials and 2 companies that are owned by the military as part of the junta there. They're trying to step up pressure on Myanmar, but as we say, no new sanctions for Russia and no EU coordination on expelling diplomats.